Thank you very much, Mr. President. Shall we keep standing for the national anthem of the Republic of South Africa?
Let us dedicate ourselves to rise together.
Thank you very much. Mr. President, good morning and welcome to the Disability Summit. We welcome Minister Batabile Dlamini, the Minister of Social Development. We welcome the MMC Mabusela, MMC for the Metro of Tshwane, responsible for social development and health. Mr. President, in this room, you have 400 people with disabilities representing different organizations, as well as parents of children with disabilities. And they will be here for the next 3 days to engage on a number of subjects and a number of issues that we consistently engage them from time to time. And also on the 11th, Mr. President will hand out the Disability Awards 2015 to individuals and the private sector that continue to make it possible for people with disabilities to prosper. We also welcome the African Disability Alliance, which is the umbrella body for the African Union in terms of disability architect. You are most welcome. I therefore will take this opportunity to call Mayor Mabusela to please come on behalf of the Executive Mayor of the city of Tshwane to welcome us in Tshwane.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Minister Henrietta Bokopane Zulu, who's as well the Program Director for this session. Allow me, Program Director, to welcome in the soil of the capital city of South Africa this morning, His Excellency the President of the Republic of South Africa, President Jacob Zuma, the Minister for Social Development, Minister Batabile Dlamini. On behalf of the United Nations Resident Coordinator, the person who's standing for the coordinator, Mr. Delis, you're most welcome. Mr. Bongani Kumalo, the Chief Executive of the Finance and the Fiscal Commission, the Commissioner Bokakatla Malachi of the South African Human Rights Commission, Mr. Robert Masambo, representing the disabled people of South Africa, Mr. Bruno Duncan and Ms. Grace Massa from the South African Disability Alliance, respectively, the distinguished guests, comrades, friends, sons and daughters of the African soil, media persons present in our midst, you are most welcomed. As I welcome you to the capital city, let me emphasize that it is, according to my best judgment, I think we could not have chosen a better time and a better day, nor a month, if it's not this month of March, because it also represents the human rights. We are also gathered here today, hot on our heels of cabinet approval to the white paper of the rise of people living with disability, premised on the 1997 Integrated National Disability Strategy, anchored on the foundation laid by social political activists with disability when they adopted the Disability Rights Charter of South Africa in 1992. It is in this vein that I submit that this summit should bear as a reminder of the sacrifices made by many, so that those of us who are gathered here today can do so without limitation and with full enjoyment and guarantees of our fundamental rights. As I welcome you, let me quote from 1997 Integrated National Disability Strategy, which cites, I quote, "Among the yardsticks by which to measure a society, respect for human rights, to evaluate the level of its maturity and its generosity of spirit, is by looking at the status that is accorded to those members of society who are most vulnerable, disabled people, the senior citizens, and its children." Close quote. In looking back to 1997, I can say that a good story continues to be told about how the first 20 years of democracy impacted on the lives of the people living with disability in South Africa. In addition to this previous national policy framework and commitments, the 2009 to 2014 Disability Framework for Local Government has provided a toolkit for the municipalities to further create an enabling environment for crafting progressive policies that are human rights approach to mainstreaming the rights of people living with disability. Persons with disabilities continue to bear witness the positive impact the 21st year of democracy had on their lives, and they continue to testify that they now enjoy the rights to substantive quality and dignity and the protection against discrimination on basis disability. We are hopeful we will once again utilize this gathering as another opportunity to reflect on progress made in realizing the rights of persons with disabilities as equal citizens, as well as to take notice of new challenges that are emerging, which requires our attention as government. Let me also attest that we are hopeful and bring well wishes that today's summit will inspire renewed impetus and ensure that together we move South Africa forward through an accountable state machinery and social partnership that upholds the rights of persons with disabilities. Program Director, since its approval in 2010, the Gauteng Disability Rights Policy by provincial government has catalyzed entailing many initiatives impacting the quality of life of persons with disabilities in the democratic dispensation. To give meaning to this provincial policy, the City of Tshwane remains committed in promoting the achievement of disability equity, stop abuse and eradication of discrimination against people with disability through the Council resolution that was taken in 2011, which opposed the disability policies of 2011 to 2016. In conclusion, Program Director, I must indicate that the capital city will in action demonstrate its championship in promoting the rights of vulnerable groups in general, and in this instance, the people living with disability. We guarantee that gathering that is in Tshwane will flagship the local government implementation on the white paper. All that we are saying is that the people shall govern, including the people with disabilities shall govern this country, and their lives and their rights will be taken in cognizance by the government of South Africa. Thank you so much.
Let me express my sincere thanks to Mema Busela. Mr. President, we are also joined by the United Nations, and allow me to tender the apologies of the resident coordinator of the UN Family in South Africa, Mr. Fofang, who could not join us, but however has ensured that we do have a representative who is the country representative for the United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, and whom I will call to the podium. Mr. Delays, you have the floor. Can we welcome him, please? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Program Director. President of the Republic of South Africa, Your Excellency Jacob Zuma, Minister of Social Development, Honorable Batabile Dlamini, Executive Mayors of the City of Tshwane, Chairperson of the Forum for Institutions Promoting Democracy, distinguished Executive Mayors, government officials and representatives from the Department of Social Development, International Relations and Cooperation, Women, Justice and Constitutional Development, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. As the Country Director of UNICEF in South Africa, it is indeed a great pleasure to be representing the United Nations at this crucial summit. You may recall that almost 10 years ago, on the 13th December 2006, the member states of the United Nations adopted the Conventions on the Rights of People with Disabilities, which recognizes the inherent dignity and worth and the inalienable rights of all members of the human family. The Convention also aims to promote, protect, and ensure the full and equal enjoyment of all human rights and fundamental freedom by all persons with disabilities, and to promote respect for their dignity. We in the UN family in South Africa are committed to fulfilling the provision of this convention. And let me take this opportunity, Your Excellency, to express our deepest thanks to the government and the people of South Africa and all its partners for advancing the rights of persons with disabilities. Let me also extend our appreciations to the active participation and high-level contribution of the South African Human Rights Commission and the Commission on Gender Equality, which ensure that the policy development process meet the required international human rights standards and that human rights issues are adequately mainstreamed. We recognize that the combined contribution of the South African Disability Alliance, Disabled People South Africa, and the national chapter of users and survivors of psychiatry ensure that the policy framework process was informed by communities through structures represented by your institution. Your contribution also ensured that the policy framework is grounded on the local realities, the needs, and the challenge of people. You made this process a truly people-centered process. To my colleagues in the UN, your participation as different agencies toward a common goal to support government initiatives shows that through our coordinated effort, we can make a difference by sharing the most advanced knowledge and expertise, and wish to particularly acknowledge the leadership and financial contribution from the United Nations Programme on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. Ladies and gentlemen, this joint program was developed within the context of the Government of South Africa UN Strategic Cooperation Framework, spanning from 2013 to 2017. And we meet a request of the government to sought support from the United Nations to strengthen its mechanisms for implementing the UN Conventions on the Rights of People with Disabilities in South Africa. Since then, the United Nations country team has enjoyed a constructive collaboration that started with the Department of Women, Children, and Persons with Disabilities and has since continued with the Department of Social Development. We are pleased to see that the collective support of UNDP, UNFPA, UNICEF, OHEHR, UNESCO, ILO, WHO, and UN Women has informed the finalization of the white papers on the rights of persons with disability, which was approved in December 2017 by the South African Cabinet as a new policy that promotes, protects, and holds the rights of persons with disability. This serves as the first step toward full domestication of the UN Conventions on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities in South Africa, including the identification and removal of socio-economic factors affecting persons with disabilities and their families. Your Excellency, The United Nations is truly looking forward to the outcome of this summit, and the UN agencies and funds in South Africa will continue to expand and consolidate its partnership with the government to support the implementation of the white paper on the rights of persons with disabilities, as to ensure that their rights are fully realized and that no one is left behind on the path to the realization of a society for all. I thank you very much for your attention.
I thank the representative of the UN family, Mr. Delays. Thank you very much, Mr. President. We need to indicate that South Africa was amongst the first countries to benefit from the newly established United Nations Partnership Fund for Disability, and we have met all the obligations that we had with the United Nations. We have complied, and part of the outcomes is what you will be launching today, which was technical support to develop the white paper on the the white paper on the rights of persons with disabilities, its implementation matrix, 3 different studies, the economics of disability, the disability inequality index. All of those have been submitted to the United Nations. We also wish to indicate that, Mr. President, we have complied and submitted our United Nations reports on disability. It is before the committee. We are awaiting for them if there are any outstanding matters that South Africa needs to explain. And we've also subsequently done a baseline country report to enable us to be able to measure progress, since your government is outcome-based. May I therefore take this opportunity to call upon Minister Batabile Dlamini, the Minister of Social Development, to make her remarks and usher the President to the stage. Minister, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, our Program Director and the Deputy Minister of Social Development, Henrietta Buchupane Zulu, our Honorable President of South Africa, President Jacob Zuma, Cabinet colleagues that are here, Minister Mike Masuta and Deputy Minister Joyce Machamba. Oh, Joyce Mabuda Fasi. Yo. Mrs. Yolanda Mabusela, Mayoral Committee for Health and Social Development in Tshwane Municipality, UNICEF representative, Mr. Delays, government officials led by the DG in the presidency, the disability sector in its entirety, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. President, allow me to say we are growing step by step as the department in dealing with the issues of disability. We must also say that it's not easy. The deployment of Deputy Minister Buchupane Zulu has played a very important role in the department when it comes to dealing with the issues of people with disabilities. We've had a dialogue and meetings with young people with albinism who told us clearly that, look, we don't want a grant. We want to go to school. We want to study. And please ensure that everything that we need in our environment is well organized. We've also met with parents of children with autism. We've held workshops in the department that are led by the Deputy Minister, just to give us direction on how to deal with the issues of disability. But also, there are many changes that you will see in the department. For instance, before we had someone working at the telephone place, receiving telephones, but using the normal phone to do the work. And then the minister, the deputy minister told us where to go off. Again, her office is state of the art, because we want to try and ensure that she is able to do her work properly, but also charity begins at home. Mr. President, we also would like to say that working together with other partners, we have launched more than 14 stimulation centers for children with disabilities. And the minute you open the computer, the kids sit there and they are glued to what is going on, and they teach themselves how to go through various programs. And we want to ensure that by the end of the coming financial year, 200 more stimulation centers are built. And lastly, we would like to plead with NGOs that deal with the issues of people with disabilities. From those that provide services and those that are organizations representing people with disabilities. There is a lot of work we have done. There is a team that we formed that has come up with a report on issues of disability, and we are waiting for the program of action. And the program of action is trying to ensure that we work together, is trying to ensure that nothing is done about the people with disabilities without them. Now, Mr. President, we would also like to congratulate you for paying attention to the disability sector, and we hope that will ensure that we engage properly on matters of importance. And we think it's also possible for us to engage because of your leadership style and because you've been an activist for quite a long time. And you have championed a number of programs after the democratic elections. And those are focusing on fighting the challenges of poverty, unemployment, and inequality. And Mr. President, we salute you for setting aside this day to come and address the disability sector. And Mr. President, would like to humbly request you to join us here and talk to us on your views and on what the government has done to try and integrate the issues of disability in its program of action. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Thank you. You may be seated. Thank you very much, Minister. Director of the program, Deputy Minister Mokopane Zulu, the Minister of Social Development, and all ministers and deputy ministers present. Acting Executive Mayor of the City of Tshwane, Councillor Yolande Mabusela, the Chairperson of the South African Employers of Disability, Dr. Jerry Gule, members of the Presidential Working Group on Disability, commissioners of institutions promoting democracy, resident coordinator of the United Nations, Mr. Ghana Fofang, global disability expert of the World Bank, Ms. Charlotte McLean Tlapo, Chairperson of the Africa Disability Alliance, Ms. Grace Massa, leadership of representative organizations of persons with disabilities, esteemed delegates. Let me begin by welcoming our honored guests and development partners, the leaders of the disability sector attending this Disability Rights Summit. Persons with disabilities have a proud history of human rights struggle for liberation in South Africa. Convening the inaugural meeting with Human Rights Month is therefore significant indeed. It is also befitting that we meet 3 months almost to the day after Cabinet approved the white paper on the rights of persons with disabilities on the 9th December 2015. The new democratic government took an important decision back in 1994 that the discrimination, marginalization, and exclusion of persons with disabilities experienced under apartheid could only be addressed by mainstreaming their rights and development throughout all legislation, policies, and programs. It was important to do away with the approach of creating segregated facilities and development opportunities for persons with disabilities, and to contextualize the approach to disability within a human rights context. The summit enables us to take stock of the progress we have made thus far in promoting the rights of people with disabilities, and also to look at what else we still need to do. Importantly, today I will also inaugurate the Presidential Working Group on Disability, which I chair, which is aimed at mainstreaming the promotion of the rights of persons with disability across government. Compatriots and friends, while we have made progress in addressing matters affecting people with disabilities, we also acknowledge that some progress has been made in some areas, for an example, education. We have emphasized access to basic education for children with disabilities. The Department of Basic Education continues to work hard to reach children who are still excluded from education, in line with South Africa's obligations in terms of the Constitution on the rights of persons with disabilities. The department reports that a system for early identification and intervention has been strengthened through key policy documents and strategies, such as the policy on screening, identification, assessment, and support, the guidelines for curriculum differentiation, and the policy framework for the realization of the rights of children with profound intellectual disability. Government policy instruments also include the introduction of a skills and vocational exit level qualification for children with moderate and severe learning disabilities. Indeed, progress is being made. The percentage of 5-year-old children with disabilities attending educational institutions is at 83%, while the percentage of 7 to 15-year-old children with disabilities attending educational institutions is at 93%. The Department of Basic Education has committed to ensuring that a continuum of support services will be available for all children who experience barriers to learning, including those with disabilities. Our goal as government is to ensure that by 2021, no children with disabilities will be out of school. They should all be able to attend their local neighboring schools and receive the necessary support. Government has also made progress with regards to the introduction of the South African Sign Language curriculum at school level from January 2015. This is pivotal to ensuring that deaf South Africans are able to access information and communication. At a higher education level, the Ministry of Higher Education and Training, working in collaboration with the disability sector, continue to promote access to post-school education and training for young persons with disabilities needs our support. More than 6,850 students with disabilities have been enrolled at higher education institutions. We are also pleased that over 2,800 have been enrolled at TVET colleges in 2014. We have also directed the Department of Transport to ensure that public transport systems are universally designed to provide access and safety for all commuters. This is critical in ensuring independence and mobility for persons with disabilities. Government has also prioritized access to social assistance for persons with disability in need. Social grants do not meet all the needs of current recipients. However, they go a long way in contributing towards household income equity for persons with disabilities and their families. The work currently being done on the economics and cost of disability will contribute to reforms in this regard. Access to disability-specific services, assistive devices, and technology has also improved over the past 20 years. However, provinces must continue to strengthen this area of work. The sector should work with provinces in this regard. More work must also be done to promote access to alternative communication services, including Braille. Cabinet has directed that the establishment of a government Braille printing works be accelerated. While government has made steady progress in our employment equity performance for persons with disabilities over the past 15 years, it has been too slow. Within government, we have impressed upon departments to work harder towards the target of 2% in their staff complements. The promotion of rights of people with disabilities must be achieved in the private sector as well. It is not only government departments and entities that must comply. We also need to work harder together to remove stereotypes and superstition that has proven to be detrimental to persons with disabilities. We have been encouraged by the killers of Miss Tandazile Punza, a young woman with albinism who was reportedly killed for her body parts, have been brought to book. It is a good demonstration that our justice system works effectively and that communities and courts will not tolerate human rights violations against persons with disabilities. We need to spread the message that people with albinism have rights like any other South African. They must be treated with respect and dignity. They are also entitled to full protection by the law and by our law enforcement agencies. Our communities should also provide protection and participate in awareness campaigns about albinism. Compatriots and friends, I have today also convened the inaugural meeting of the Presidential Disability Working Group. We will reflect on issues that we think the working group should address and the role that we believe it should play in promoting the mission of building a united, non-racial and non-sexual, and non-sexist and non-racial and prosperous society. The working group provides a platform as well for us to work together as the sector and government so that we are able to focus on creating a better life for ordinary persons with disabilities and their families. Compatriots, the development of the disability rights policy was a collaborative effort. It would have been an impossible task without the active participation of organizations working in the disability sector and our institutions promoting democracy and disability rights. We would like to acknowledge the generous contribution by the United Nations through the UN partnership to promote the rights of persons with disabilities. United Nations agencies in South Africa for the technical and financial support provided over the past 3 years to bring us to this point. Esteemed delegates, let us focus our deliberations, keeping in mind the need to change the lives of children, women, young persons, and older persons with disabilities living in poverty in deep rural communities. Let us commit ourselves to working even harder to advance the rights promoted by the new policy. Colleagues and delegates, before I conclude, it may just be important for me to make this remark, because I've heard that there are some of us who were not happy that this sector was shifted from the presidency to the social development. The presidency is in the main supervising government. The departments implement. That's a difference that made us to take the decision. Because otherwise, in the presidency, you would not even have the necessary budget, because the budget allocated to the presidency is in the main to supervise government. In other words, to supervise departments. Departments implement. And therefore, we wanted a department that must have the capacity to address the matters relating to the sector. And I'm sure you must have seen some difference since we took the decision. It's not about the status from our point of view. It is about what is done for the sector. I just thought I should underline that point, because I've heard that even outside here, there are people who are still protesting. At the right time, we'll have time to talk to them, to explain. From the presidency, we must supervise and monitor and evaluate what departments are doing. And the social development, we will include this when we evaluate. How far have they gone? Otherwise, in the presidency, it would be nice to be there, but very little will happen. So that's why we took the decision, and I would like to just make this point so that we are clear about why the decision was taken. It was not relegating the status. It was putting the sector at a department that must be given the capacity, the resources, the personality to ensure that work proceeds. Colleagues, I wish you a successful summit, and I'm sure you will have time to address many of the issues that need to be addressed. And I'm sure the department will report at the end your resolutions. I also look forward to a fruitful meeting of the Presidential Working Group this morning that I'm going to have, and to a strong partnership between government and the disabled community. The Presidential Working Group is there to ensure that whilst the department is implementing policies and programs, but you link with the presidency directly to raise any other issue that you believe should be raised, as well as making suggestions and proposals. So in a sense, there is a direct connection with the presidency through the Presidential Working Group. And I hope the arrangements as they stand now must satisfy all of us. I wish you successful conference. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, and for firstly being with us this morning. And we wish to confirm that indeed the Presidential Working Group preparations has been made, and they therefore will be the Presidential Working Group immediately after the following agenda items. Mr. President, as you've referred in your speech, you have spoken about, thank you, Minister, is mine, merci. Mr. President, you have spoken about the white paper on the rights of persons with disabilities. Allow me now, at this present moment, to humbly request Your Excellency, President, to please go down with the minister and stand in the middle. It's not every day that you get an opportunity to ask your two bosses to go downstairs. May I humbly request the President, the Minister, to please stand in front of the stage. Yes, please, please. We are now going to be launching the white paper, Mr. President. Yeah, please. Thank you very much, Mr. President. Thank you very much, Minister Dlamini. They will stand in front of the stage because our stage is a bit small here. And may I please have Team DSD? The launch of the white paper has arrived. May I please have the copies? Whilst they are bringing the copies, may I please request Ntate Bongani Khumalo. We will Ntate Bongani Khumalo to please join the minister on the other side, and he will receive the white paper on behalf of institutions, the Chapter 9 institutions. Ntate Khumalo, where are the white papers? DDG Tony. May I also have a roving mic, please? May I also then call the chairperson of Disabled People South Africa, Mr. Robert Masambo, next to, may I also call the South African Disability Alliance chairperson, Mr. Bruno Druchen. For him. DDG Tony. Where are the white papers? May I have the roving mic, please? Mr. President, the South African Disability Alliance will also, each of the recipients will say a few words. They have 2 minutes. So whilst we are waiting for the white papers, may I ask for the roving mic? Ma, you have the roving mic there. Can I have the roving mic sound?
Yes, but for the interpreter, it must come back to me. For the interpreter.
Ihlala lapho kuwena, ma. Can you please give the minister the white papers to pass on to the president? Haibo. DDG Tony, where are the white papers? This is shocking. Angikholwa le nto yenza. Minister Dlamini will hand over the white paper to the President. Mr. President, we humbly request that you hand over the copy to Professor Bongani Kumalo to make sure that the Chapter 9 institutions are going to ensure that the rights, the inherent rights and dignity of persons with disabilities is adhered to, and that all the duty bearers, the accountable officers will be able to ensure that they are adhered to. May we give Ntate Kumalo the mic to say his remarks, please, in receiving the white paper.
Honorable President, Minister, Cabinet Ministers around, and ladies and gentlemen, let me, on behalf of the Forum for Institutions Supporting Democracy, express our heartfelt joy at being invited to come and receive this important document on behalf of a very important section of our society. We would like also, on behalf of the Forum of Institutions Supporting Democracy, want to support the summit and its objectives, and we would like to express our commitment to ensuring that through those institutions we will vigilantly apply our minds to the contents, and we will also ensure that we implement our mandate as defined in the Constitution in ensuring that the objectives expressed in the white paper are actually met. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ntate Kumalo. May I humbly request, Mr. President, as you've rightfully indicated in your speech, this policy was not drafted by government alone. We worked very hard, and we thank all the organizations that ensured that we can launch this white paper today. May I then request that the President hand over the white paper to the Chairperson of Disabled People South Africa, Mr. Robert Masambu. And Mr. Masambu, you have 2 minutes to make your input as you receive the white paper as a rights holder. Mr. President.
Thank you, Program Director, Deputy Minister Bokopane Zulu. Thank you, Honorable President Zuma, our Minister, Mage Betabile Dlamini, comrades here. We really appreciate the policy. We believe that it's a beginning of a significant milestone in moving the lives of disabled forward. Honorable President, but I just need to indicate that sitting here, we can't say things are rosy. There are people outside who've been chanting, and they're still outside chanting because there are a number of dissatisfactions which were actually raised. And it would be really appropriate and appreciated if at a particular point, Comrade President, together with the Minister, could just meet with those people. But also, Honorable President, I have a mandate here. I've been asked by my constituency, Disabled People South Africa, to ask the President, and we've been asking since 2014 to say we don't hate our Minister, Betabile Dlamini, and we don't hate the Deputy Minister, Bokgopane Zulu. But disability is a cross-cutting matter. It's like your issue of women. It's like the issue of youth. They are cross-cutting in nature. And therefore, it was one in the President's office, and therefore request on behalf of the disability sector led by Disabled People South Africa that, Honorable President, please take back disability to where it belongs. South Africa has been an envy of the whole world. You know, we were respected in Africa and all over. But once that decision was taken, we moved back a number of steps backward. So we really urge Honorable President to do that for us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ntate Masambo. You might have missed the President's input in that regard. Thank you very much. May I then call the floor to the South African Disability Alliance. Mr. President, would you kindly give the South African Disability Alliance, represented by Mr. Bruno Druchen, the chairperson, the white paper as the rights holders? May I ask the cameramen to sit down so that those that are part can't see? Take the pictures, but please kneel down. Thank you. Bruno, you have 2 minutes to make your remarks. And in the same breath, in the 2 minutes, you have 30 seconds to hand over to the President the report that you are launching.2 minutes, Bruno.
First of all, Our Excellency, Mr. President, thank you for your time, and that's been very valuable for us with people with disability to see and to have the confidence that you have been with us, and that's appreciated. Secondly, the South African Disability Alliance have 17 organizations that are affiliated to this organization. They are DPOs and DSOs. And we have formed an association that have a united voice for people with disabilities. We want to ask the government to work on this white paper and to implement it, and thank you for the work that's been done with the sector to make this white paper a reality. The Botswana Deaf Association also asked me last week, how have we been working with government? President, please take note that the deaf people in Botswana have a white paper, and also in other regions in Africa also do not have these kind of policies and documents that can influence and work with government. So, Mr. President, with your influence, can you please influence the head of states? And then we also, with the Alliance, we have been working on a research project with disability people, Right International, and we, like you said, Mr. President, that the government and that we need to work together with government and to make sure that there's unity. And we will speak with a united voice. And we will include women, children, and youth. And they are included in this report and the research that we've done. I know that you do not have time, but please, can your staff take these matters and these findings forward to be implemented? Thank you. I hand over now the report.
May I excuse the sector representative and ask Mr. delays to please join the Minister and the President to receive, on behalf of all of us, to the United Nations, the white paper, since they have assisted us financially and technically to put it together. May we officially hand over the official copy to the United Nations, Mr. President. Mr. President, in keeping with what the white paper prescribes and what you have said in your speech, we would like to hand over to you officially the large font white paper as a symbol to say every South African with low vision will have access to the documentation in the font that they are able to read, and ask Minister Masuta to get it from the President on all of our behalf. Minister Masuta. Minister Masuta, please come back. Thank you. Mr. President, we also acknowledged the realities that not every blind person can read Braille. We have ensured that all that you have launched today is also available in audio. We therefore request you humbly on behalf of visually impaired South Africans that are not Braille users to hand over to Minister Masuta again an audio copy of the white paper. And to also say, Mr. President, the white paper is available in Braille. It is available in simple, child-friendly versions, and we've ensured that it will be translated in all the languages, as that's what the Department of Arts and Culture committed. And we are ensuring that as a department, we will facilitate and go on a road show to ensure that every South African understands the white paper to enable them to claim their rights. May I hand over, Minister, the mic, if the President would like to say a few words in launching the...
No, thank you very much indeed. And I must congratulate those who have got it right here, the white paper. This is an important step forward in the effort and the process of ensuring that our democratic country accommodates everyone. There is no one who's left out. Not just to talk about it, but to implement it, to have policy that will guide us, because we are a constitutional democracy, so that people can fight for their rights, knowing exactly where are the rights, documented on record. I'm very happy that today we have achieved this. But let me also take the advantage to respond to my good brother there, who says there is a case to be presented about the removal of the sector from the presidency. I've said to the minister, we must arrange a meeting to discuss that, because I would like to be convinced that, in fact, that in fact the decision was not very rational. Because from our point of view, we're being rational, as I just touched on the point. For an example, how long were you in the presidency? For quite a while. Was there any white paper that came? Why? Because the government, the presidency's job is to supervise, not to implement. A very short time that we have been in the department, there's a white paper. I think, as I say, you must prepare your sector to argue for me convincingly that in fact it is an advantage to be in the presidency than when you're in the department. So we are going to arrange the meeting very quick so that this is not an issue to split hairs about. If you present a convincing argument, then we'll have to reconsider our decision. But if your argument is not convincing, then we'll have to accept the status quo. Agreed? So it will be the question of the logic and the rationality. Because it was not done for spiting people. The thought was there will be work that will go on, and there will be specific department that focuses on it to ensure that it all happens. So the minister will arrange a meeting. We will then have the discussion on this matter. Agreed? After that meeting, there will be no quarrel. Whatever the decision will be. Wakala Sangati, you will be as if you, even if not, because we look at facts. We look at facts and the logic, and then we'll agree. Agreed? Huh? Huh? I can't hear.
But the time frames.
No. Because my program is arranged by the office, I don't want to tell a lie and say this date. The reason why I'm saying we'll arrange with the minister, because I must look at my program, identify the date, and then inform you. If I say it here, I'll be not telling the truth, because I don't know. I might say it tomorrow, and they might say to me, tomorrow you are actually in Greytown. Had you forgotten? So I want to do it properly. It is going to be done soon. Sooner the better. Thank you very much. Otherwise, we are happy that today we have this summit. We have launched the white paper. We are inaugurating the working group. There is progress. Thank you very much indeed.
Mr. President, keep standing there, please. May I excuse Minister Masuta and keep Mr. President and Minister Dlamini as I call on this, as I call next to them the African Disability Alliance. Mr. President, they would, the Horomi mic is still there. May I call upon Mamu Grace Massa, the chairperson of the board of the African Disability Alliance. They have something to hand over to the country, South Africa, and Mr. President will receive it as the head of state on behalf of all of us, and they will explain what is it about. But you have literally 3 minutes to explain. May I give the floor to Mama Massa.
Your Excellency, President Jacob Zuma, the delegates present here and all protocol observed. I would like first of all to thank the government of South Africa for allowing ADA, that's the African Disability Alliance, to host the office here in South Africa. We are able to achieve, or we managed to achieve, due to the unflinching support given to us by the government of South Africa as the host of the headquarters. We extend our gratitude to you, Your Excellency, for prioritizing disability mainstreaming in all sectors of government and establishing the Presidential Working Group on Disability. And also would like to thank the government for accepting other ambassadorial country status awards, which we are here to present. And the ambassadorial country status award is the top civil society award, the only one of its kind in Africa. The award is given to the government of the Republic of South Africa in recognition of progress made to date in disability policy development, formulation of disability inclusive laws, and mainstreaming of disability rights in all sectors of government and society. The award symbolizes and acknowledges the leadership role that the government and citizens play at national, regional, and international level in advocating for the rights of persons with disabilities. And the award will remain in place for a renewable period of 10 years. For Your Excellency, we hope that this award will motivate you and the government of South Africa to continue to work towards achieving the rights of persons with disabilities in South Africa. We are here now to confer the award to you, Your Excellency, and we commit ourselves to work with you, national, province, and local government ministries, departments, and organizations in the country. We commit ourselves to contribute our skills. Thank you.
For those that can't see like me, let me try and explain what's happening up front. In front of us, you must pardon me if I'm talking not the right thing. You know, all of us can't see. Yeah, so don't blame me. But you have Minister Dlamini, you have Your Excellency the President, and you have Mr. A.K. Dube, and you have, is that Thomas? Mr. Thomas Ongolo, and they've handed over to the President a very big certificate, as well as a trophy on behalf of all of us for the work that we do in South Africa in advancing the rights of people with disabilities. And the President is duly receiving that, indeed advancing the people's power, Mr. President.
Honorable President, the certificate reads Disability Ambassadorial Certificate Award. It's awarded to the government of the Republic of South Africa for significant progress and commitment to mainstream disability in policies and sectors of government and society. We thank you.
Shall we give the President the trophy now? DG Lubisi, may you humbly make your way this way, please. What they are clapping for to receive the certificate, teacher. What they are clapping for those that can't see like me, the President is holding a very big trophy, a huge one, that the President has just received on behalf of South Africa. They are now shaking hands with the three people I've indicated, and we have called upon DDG Lubisi from the administration perspective to take the certificate and the trophy as the DG in the presidency on behalf of government, the administration. Now there's a photo opportunity. I mean, I'll try and be the narrator. I can only tell you what I see. What I don't see, forgive me. There's now a photo opportunity, and they are now taking pictures, just so that you don't sit as blind people not knowing what is going on. So it's a photo opportunity. They are posing and smiling. Dare say I'm the only one missing in the picture, but they will represent me and all of you. Dare say, well done. Thank you very, very much, Mr. President. Now you can take your seats. Mike, can I thank you, Minister, Mr. President. Now you may be seated. Thank you very much, Minister, Mr. President. Thank you very much to the South African Disability Alliance for the honor. We have come to the end of the opening ceremony of the summit. May I just make the following announcement? May I request, when I adjourn, that we award the President and his entourage the opportunity to please go out. Then they will be followed by the Presidential Working Group. Please make your way out to the right, my left, and the rest of the delegates, please go out to your left, my right, and we are going to be starting the Presidential Working Group in the next 15 minutes. So may I declare on behalf of all of us, by the power the President vested in me, that the summit is now open. Thank you very much. I have just borrowed the minister's eyes, and the minister says there's a hand that we need to take, that if we don't take the hand, the rain will go away, and we need the rain. So to make sure the rain doesn't go away, let's acknowledge the hand. And who are you?
My name is Jacques Lloyd. Mr. President, I'm, as you can see, a person with a disability. I have got quite a few colleagues here. I work at grassroots level with people with disabilities. I want to say to you that everything is not well. I just last week lost a friend of mine in Kailicha who died of malnutrition, who has worked every day with people with disabilities, but with limited support, actually with no support. I want to tell you that we are dying. We've got health problems, we've got housing problems, we've got educational problems. The picture that you created here is not existing. At grassroots level, we are struggling. You are taking away a presidential group now to go and talk. I do not believe that it is representative of the people at grassroots level. I need you to address that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jack. May I then request the minister to please, and the president and the Presidential Working Group. Mr. President, 1 minute.
No, I want to thank the colleague who came here and raised the issues. I take it, Director of the program, that one of the reasons why you have the summit is to attend to these matters that are a problem, particularly to those who are far from the maybe the level where other people could have interaction. So I would want you to give the colleague an opportunity to present what he has just raised, so that the summit must discuss it. I just want to make sure that it is not left unattended to. That is what I wanted to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Indeed, the summit is to evaluate the progress and for us to plan together to take this process forward. May I then request the Minister, the President, the Acting Executive Mayor to be excused, the UN rep, as well as Madam Massa. They must be followed by the Presidential Working Group to be inaugurated, and the rest of all of us, we are going to have tea and come back. The program director that will take over from me will explain what the next process is. Thank you so much for respecting me. I really appreciate it. May we break for tea?
Colleagues, Sasa is taking over my seats. Sasa is taking over my hard work. So, no, we're not absent. We are present, Chief. It's like saying the CEO is not.
Hello, those that are not going to the Presidential Working Group will come here into the plenary. We just need to see whether we cannot break for lunch and then come back so that we can start the plenary. Sidi? Sidi? Nazi, Inspector DM.